Hello, my name is Susan Sharman. I'm the marketing manager here at the Marin Museum of Contemporary Art. I'm in our second floor gallery with artist member Gary Marsh. He's part of a paired exhibition titled Dialogues. And we're here today to talk with him a little bit more about this amazing installation piece that he has been working on and created for this exhibition. Nice to meet you, Gary. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Susan. I appreciate it. So, the impetus behind this piece, Living in a Fragile State of Mind, really was initiated by my dealing with a family member that is in the midst of dealing with dementia and aging. She's 96, and obviously things are changing for her. And what I wanted to do was to honor those changes and see it, instead of seeing them as devastating, seeing them as something that we needed to honor, i.e. the crystalline form of using glass, the clarity within which inside her brain things are still clear and wonderful memories. So I thought that the use of the glass, which actually are old chandelier parts, speaks to that. And then emerging from her brain, and she is not meaning here to be anything but resting. And as she rests, coming from her brain are these escaping thoughts. So all of the remaining sculptures are memories or memory blocks. Each one of them has a title that speaks to that, this one being the fluidity of thought, and then all of a sudden it's blocked. The thought no longer can come to the surface. So each one of those has that type of a concept behind it. The title's probably not as important as the concept of what it is I'm trying to say. I did try to put some humor at both ends of the sculpture. What I find is that my mom, who we're talking about here, no matter how difficult thoughts come to the surface or don't come to the surface, the sense of humor is there in full force. So at the far end, the feet of the crystalline figure are rather comical, something you could never walk on. And at this end, set your mind free. And so the figure is just sort of walking away. I attempted to address the way I made the pieces to be much freer than I would typically want to work. I'm very detail oriented, and I try to allow myself to produce these without attention to details. Let things happen that want to happen on their own. Not that I wasn't occasionally influenced, needed a shadow line in there somewhere, but overall, I really did allow myself to just make and let's see what happens. The overall piece is really meant to represent, in a way, a bier, a B-I-E-R. Not that, again, it's a funeral slab, but it represents the next phase of what happens as we age.
Very fascinating, thank you. Can you speak a little bit more about this Redwood Plank and how you came to found that?
I can. Ironically, it was found at a garage sale. And the clients actually came, the folks that I bought the slab from came to the opening. But the redwood tree had fallen in their yard, and rather than having someone come in and cut it up and put it into a fireplace somewhere, they actually had it milled into about 15 slabs of this size, 16 feet long, 3 inches thick, 30 inches wide. And it really suited the piece because with the growth of a tree, you can count the rings, which speaks to us as we age. Winter growth and summer growth shown in the rings. Summer growth, you grow a lot. Winter doesn't grow so much. Just like in our lives, there are periods where we grow and periods where we don't.
Wonderful, thank you. You have a few other pieces in the exhibition. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about those too.
I can. And another topic that is so important to me is gun violence, especially in America. So I'm trying to raise the consciousness for those who haven't raised their consciousness yet, to the devastation that it creates. So this one is called Groundswell, and it is using gun stocks to represent figures. The groundswell itself can be taken in two ways. Literally the swelling of the ground because we're putting bodies in the ground. But additionally to the groundswell of the youth getting out and marching against gun violence. And that's what it's going to take. For the younger generation to say, we're done, we've had enough, this is not okay. This one is called Staggering Figures. And again, addresses the enormous number of lives that are lost or damaged due to gun violence. The face is embedded with numbers, and the numbers are staggering as to how many people die and are injured. And the void, the lack of any center body, the void that it creates in other lives. True prosthetic leg molds that I found, true titanium knee joints, and the figure is just trying to do the very basics of figuring out how it can get into its shoes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gary. I really appreciate your time today, and I encourage people to come see Dialogues, an exhibition with Gary Marsh and Donna Wallace Cohen, on view through September 5th.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.